Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 45 of the Glimmer Gang podcast. Boys, we have a lot to talk about today. Obviously, we just got back from Chicago. Sean and I did, so we're going to recap that and our experiences at the second ever North American DLC. And then we just had the Lorecast. At the time of recording, it was only a few hours ago. We got news about Set 5, Shimmering Skies. We got 20 new cards from whether it was from the Lorecast or the website. So a lot to talk about today. Probably the biggest news dump episode we've had in a good long while. Obviously, new set and all. We got to see a bunch of new stuff. We got to see the new trailer for the set, and we have finally defeated Ursula. So Blake, we all know you and your story loving. Love that. So if you guys haven't, go check out Blake's channel because he did a lot of cool stuff for that, and obviously we'll have more.
I did at least 3 videos just in the last few days, just in preparation as like my little bingo card for what we'll discuss, what we would have seen today, and I was very wrong.
Sometimes.
It's how it goes. But then again, I don't think I'm completely wrong. But I was just thinking things were going to happen a little quicker, and it looks like we're having a little fun break with this set from what it looks like.
Yeah. But before we get to that, obviously the Chicago DLC just happened. Congratulations to Brian Cortad. Hopefully I'm saying that right. On winning the DLC, also known as the Rat on Twitter, probably more known by that moniker. One with Emerald Steel Bucky. I could have bet you $100 that was going to win this weekend. I would have probably put that money down. But yeah, that was obviously what won. But Sean and I did play in the main event. Sean, you want to talk about your experience? Obviously, like we said in the last episode, you were playing Emerald Amber. How did that go for you? How are your matchups all day?
Honestly, I faced quite a few matchups to decks I wasn't expecting. Quite a few aggro decks. I didn't do super well, but that's okay. Had a blast playing with all the players out there and seeing all the fun decks everybody was building. I did come up against Bucky a couple of times, and we all know how that goes.
Yeah.
I did enjoy how the deck played. I also using this as a learning experience. I definitely know where the deck needs to go now too. So,
I didn't realize you were done talking. Just finished my drink. No, you're good. Personally, I started out the day very slow. I think I started the day 2-0. Funny. Okay, my whole weekend in playing just was very quirky, I think is the best way to put it. I started my day out 2-0ing the mirror. I was playing Ruby Amethyst, that aggro deck. And then the next 3 I run into, I believe, 2 Bucky and a Sapphire Steel and lose 0-2 in all 3 of those. And then, so that's round 4, and I'm just sitting there, well, this is unfortunate. But if you guys didn't know, what they did for this DLC is how many points you got tickets for the sidewall. And after round 4, I still realized if I 2-0'd at least 3 of my next 5 rounds, I would be able to, or 2-0'd 3 of my next 4 rounds, I would be able to take an intentional split in the finals, or in the final round, to be able to secure myself 31 points for 20 ticks. And that's exactly what I did. I was able to, I think, beat Ruby Sapphire, which Ruby Amethyst should beat most of the time. And it was just really weird. Like, my first 8 rounds, I either 2-0'd or 0-2'd. Just kind of how Lorcana goes sometimes. It was kind of weird not splitting anything until like the last round. I know there were so many of us on that threshold between 27 and 29 points that just needed to split to get their 30 points for their 20 tickets. And so I was able to do that. I got a Cinderella promo, which was really cool. But I think the biggest thing, and Sean will attest to how many times I just came out of the event hall and said this, out of the 16 games I played, I hit Flynn in my opening or mulligan hand twice. It was like, and obviously that deck needs that to win. And I know
multiple people questioned him on whether he had actually remembered to put them in the deck.
And yes, and I like after every game I didn't see him, I would fan through the deck, and he was there. Like he was there in like the bottom half of the deck, and I'm like, either I'm just not shuffling well enough, or it's just TCG luck of the draw, and just unfortunate because I would pile shuffle at the start of every game, and it was just really weird. So I I guess that's kind of luck of the draw. I knew that there were some games I could have won if I had been able to get a uh, Flynn down with a Sisu, the 3-drop Sisu, because like there were multiple games against Sapphire Steel where they weren't playing characters until turn 5 or 6, or they were just ramping. And if I'd been able to get like a 1-drop, then Flynn, then the 3-drop, and then Castle, like probably wouldn't, they would have been different. But I was happy with how the deck performed. I honestly think I will play it at set champs. I'm also looking into Sapphire Steel for set champs because that did really well this weekend as well. Ruby Sapphire was the best performing deck. I'm not really surprised at that, honestly. I feel like it has a pretty good matchup into a lot of things. But Blake, I want to ask you. Obviously, you weren't in Chicago, but how was watching the stream? Because we had two very good friends of the show, Brandon and Rebecca, doing live, and then John T and Liam from John T from the Inkle, Liam from Lumineers doing it virtually. How was the stream, and how was your experience just watching from home and following along there?
Um, yeah, definitely. All of the casters took their experience from Atlanta and
Mm-hmm.
just brought their A game and just really brought it. So shout out to them. They did an amazing job continuing and building on their experience. And yeah, um, other than that, it was just nice getting to watch a few games. I didn't get to watch as much as I did the last time
Mm-hmm.
because Saturday especially, I was out of town for most of the day doing some errands. So, uh, but from what I did get to watch, it was very good to watch and just fun seeing the start of set four, essentially, like the
Mm-hmm.
first big thing for set four and what decks were coming out. Like we knew what decks were going to be there, but it's also the first real time that we're going to get a chance to respond to these big decks.
Mm-hmm.
And now that's, I believe, the next one's Fort Worth.
Yeah, and
So it'll be very interesting to see how the decks evolve and change in between Chicago and Fort Worth,
Yeah.
just from what we've seen at Chicago.
you also got to think we're gonna have 2 weeks of set champs before Fort Worth as well, which will
That too.
also we saw what happened last time. Obviously, set champs are a full month, so a little bit more spread out. But we saw with set champs for set three, there was the most influx of deck lists that we've seen in ever in Lorcana. We're gonna get that again leading up to another major tournament. So obviously that is going to play into it well. Obviously, we also saw Emerald Amethyst taking second place, which no one really expected that to do that well.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, for the most part, at least from the bit I played, I've tried to continue playing that deck for a little while, and it did not get the same oomph that some of the
mm-hmm.
other decks did for this set. So very
Yeah,
interesting to see that it did so well.
I believe if I read something right, and this could be totally wrong, don't quote me on this, but the guy that was piloting that didn't see a single Bucky deck all of day one, and he was the second seed going into day two. So obviously matchups play into that a little bit. Um,
Yeah, for sure.
It was really cool, honestly, because we were sitting with the Hobbies and Happiness guys on day two, just in the main hall, doing multiplayer and just hanging out in between like side events. And we had a friend, we met a new guy, and he was just sitting there with us. And Jordan Martinson, who got second place, was his buddy. So every time he would come up, after you had won, he would just come up and just you see the energy building up in Jordan, which is really cool. I know Sean can also attest to that. Seeing Jordan come up and just
Yeah.
get excited, and obviously it was really cool to see that. Uh, but then we also mentioned that tickets for the main event. You got 6 tickets for 10 points, 20 points got 14, and 30 points got 20 tickets. And obviously there were different prizes on the prize wall, and this was really cool to see because it held 85% of the field in. No one dropped
Yeah.
early, which was astonishing as a TCG player to see that many people still playing as the day going on because you don't really see that in TCGs a lot. It's
Yeah,
not
that doesn't happen.
no, and
Yeah.
so props to the entire Disney Lorcana team for being able to put that forward, and just a great addition. Obviously, it
Heck
shows
yeah.
that they're listening and doing an amazing job with all of this.
Yeah, and I even for the players that do well on day one, but still not making the quite making the cut or bubbling out,
Mm-hmm.
to still be able to get something for all that effort that they put in
Oh yeah.
on day one, it's fantastic because that can really sting for them. So
Mm-hmm.
getting a little something extra for doing so well, and uh, just really good to see, to give them that incentive to keep that, and a nice little cushion for when they bubble out, if that
Yeah.
ends up being the case.
Because I know there are a lot of people who bubbled. I was walking around on day two and I heard a lot of people took a split in round nine thinking they would bubble in and then ended up bubbling out, which was interesting to
Ooh.
see as well. Because there are a lot of people at 43 points, I believe, was the bubble. And obviously, you still get to let it go if you're at that point threshold. So you didn't walk away with nothing, but you also didn't make day two. Uh,
Yeah,
so Chicago, I think Sean, you can agree with this. A really good weekend.
It was
I
amazing.
think.
It was so amazing, honestly. Atlanta was great. Don't get me wrong, but uh, being able to be at a place where it was just our event going on. Well, there was some other smaller stuff going
Mm-hmm.
on for other organizations, but it wasn't something as large as MomoCon, because MomoCon is a
right.
gigantic anime
Yeah.
convention. So
Yeah,
being able to have space, being able to just be with around outside of the play area, but still just you're getting to know other people that are
Mm-hmm.
at the event, either attendee or staff
Other
or player.
competitors. Yeah.
Exactly. So it was amazing. Honestly, I thought it was fantastic, and I can't wait to go to do more of these.
Yeah, and I think one of the favorite things, and this happened probably around like round six, seven, or eight later in the day. Kind of people were starting to go home. It was kind of winding down, but there were still a lot of people there playing, and it was just we saw kids running around playing tag, and I think that was one of the cooler things to see was just the age range in this community, and I think that's so cool to see. Sean, I know you played. A couple of young ones, and I think just be able to,
Yeah, it was really cool.
yeah, and to see like
You
how
don't
much.
see that in other
No,
TCGs.
like I know like Magic, and this is not a shot against any other game, but it's just like those communities are less inviting for kids. I feel like,
Yeah,
and that's the thing about Lorcana, and obviously the Disney part of it helps immensely. But to be able to see so many kids competing and doing well was really cool to see. Uh, But that was Chicago. Obviously, like Blake said, the next one is Fort Worth. Mid July, I think, believe the 21st and 22nd, or 22nd and 23rd, that weekend. Uh, and obviously, we'll have a few weeks to set champs. We'll have a few weeks to see what decks are doing well, which would be really cool. Uh, I don't know if any of us will be there. I applied to be a judge there, so that could be cool. Uh,
I would really love to go to Texas, but I don't think this one's happening.
no,
I,
I will not be attending Fort Worth. I will not be.
yeah.
The next event I'm gonna try to go to is maybe Las Vegas.
Okay.
I think there's a chance to try to go out
Hey,
to
with
that
your
one.
luck in these
yeah.
giveaways this week, I don't know if you guys know, but Sean's won 2 giveaways in the past
I
few
did.
days. He's got to go to the
That's
Vegas one.
crazy. It could
Yeah.
happen. Could happen.
I do have Toronto coming up for
Yes.
August, just after set 5 retail release.
So, yeah.
So very end of
Set
set 4.
4.
So very interested to see where that'll end up, and
Yeah.
hopefully, that was one thing I was kind of hoping we got, is if we got a little announcement about when the tickets would be going on sale for
Yeah.
Toronto. I am waiting. I am assuming with like the timing that it'll maybe be end of this month or end of next month that
Yeah.
we'll see the tickets
Yeah.
for Toronto. Hopefully soon.
Yeah. I know a
And
lot of people a lot of people, even for Vegas and Seattle, are ready to click that buy button and get these tickets secured. for these events. But that was our recap of Chicago. It was a really fun weekend, and I think we're all still kind of recovering.
Yeah, a little bit.
I know I'm still sleeping probably longer than I should be, just kind of recovering. But we got a lot of news this morning. Like I said at the beginning of the show, at the time of recording, this is Wednesday, so the Lorecast just finished a few hours ago, and we got the announcement of Set 5, Shimmering Skies. Ursula has been defeated. We are having a huge party, but something is going wrong a little. And then the video we saw, the Great Illuminary looking a bit different. And after Ryan Miller hosted this Lorecast and said that parts of the Great Illuminary are starting to fall off into the Inklands, pun intended, from the set name. And so, Blake, you got a lot of story here. This is really cool to see. Obviously,
Yep.
We're getting hints at a new villain, but Ryan did say in the video that we won't be really seeing at this set. I think this is just a celebration set, party,
Yeah.
what's going on right now.
Yeah, for sure. And we also saw things like the Hexwell ground being pretty well guarded, but we did see a very ambiguous, shadowy figure walking up towards it. So stuff is coming. It's just right now, let's just party and have fun. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of fun looking cards and a lot of fun new characters that have already been revealed coming for the set.
Yeah, on it, like we have 20 new cards to talk about. We did get Wreck-It Ralph for the first time.
I know
Outside of
Not the
not the, oh, I was outside of Pick a Fight, the first character we have.
Our one card that we've been sitting on is like it's coming one day.
Yep.
And this set kind of had the feeling of being like a celebration. Wreck-It Ralph seems pretty on point for a set like this. We did get Frozen 2 stuff. We got a few cards from there, especially Bruni, which is the salamander, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But Sean, I want to ask you, initial reactions to set 5, obviously turning a new book in the Lorcana story, going from the darkness of Ursula to now celebration, happy, positive vibes.
I think it's great. It had to happen, right? I mean, and they're not gonna. In stories and stuff, like the first challenge, Ursula, it's never like the main thing that like.
No, it's built into something.
In the story arc, you know what I mean? So I knew there was going to be this celebration, but I do like have a feeling that what's happening with the Great Illuminary, that's going to be cutting the celebration a little shorter than everybody expected. And it's kind of like it's getting us ready to like, hey, not everything's perfect yet. So
Yeah.
I'm excited. I think it's great. I love the art direction they're going with like the stylization and the font of the whole set. I love the brightness of it all. It's a really good coming from such dark art in the last set and dark themes to a much brighter one. It's a good palette cleanser.
Yeah.
And we did get a look at the starter decks, which Emerald Steel, not Bucky, or at least we don't know if Bucky's in this. Holy cow!
Yeah,
But,
right.
I mean, what? He's a common, uncommon, so you never know.
Kronk is a Floodborn. So
Oh gosh, don't put that out there.
I will say when we get to the abilities, it looks a little more like maybe a ping kind of deck.
it really does. It really does.
But it does feature, like Sean said, Kronk is the steel card, and then Scar, a new Scar card, is the emerald card. And Ruby Amethyst is the other starter deck. Elsa and Ralph, Elsa being the Amethyst and Ralph being the Ruby. Playmats, look at this family, which, my golly, that was
fantastic.
It was amazing.
And the other one, Belle.
Oh yeah, Belle Accomplished Mystic, so good.
That one I am hunting down. I love that art. And Belle's one of my favorite Disney princesses.
There you go. And then we did get new sleeves, obviously, and deck boxes with Tiana and Aladdin. And then I think something that a lot of people were looking forward to and a lot of people were looking for was getting the actual card backs in sleeves. Ryan did say that the inside is a gold, which is really cool. The other side, and then obviously you have the actual card back as a sleeve. We did get the actual card back as a portfolio now, so it's a 9-pocket page for your cards, and also that is a Nicholas Cole portfolio with a bunch of his artwork, 6 different pieces of his artwork on a binder.
Yeah, all of the OGs from set
Yes.
one that
The set one stuff.
set off the whole Lorcana craze,
Yep.
our first look.
Yeah, and
Very nostalgic
Yes.
for us
Yeah.
early adapters.
yes.
Exactly what I thought.
Yeah.
And so just being able to see all of this new stuff is really cool. Obviously, they said with set 4, they're going to go back and do playmats and sleeves from past sets. So obviously doing that same thing here. And honestly, I think they chose really good ones for the mats and all of this stuff. I think the way that it was received for How Far I'll Go was also really cool with Moana and Motunui in there. And also getting to look at this family from Encanto is a really nice touch. That was all of the kind of like products and the PR stuff that they showed. Now we have a lot of characters to talk about. A lot of new cards. Like I said, Wreck-It Ralph cards. We have new Frozen 2 cards and then just a bunch of other cards that were sprinkled throughout the Lorecast. And also we got some on the official website because all of the branding stuff is now on the website. If you guys do want to go check that out, you can just go to the Lorcana website and go to resources, and then you can get everything you need for this set to be able to make your videos and do whatever you want. But like I said, Wreck-It Ralph is in this game now as characters, not in just a one-of card that we don't know if we're ever going to see it. We officially have Wreck-It Ralph, and the first one is Wreck-It Ralph Demolition Dude. 3-costed Inkable in Ruby, 1/4, 1 lore, and Refreshing Break. Whenever you ready this character, gain 1 lore for each 1 damage on him. I don't know. I kind of like that. I think that can... Because, like, we have a lot of cards in Ruby, like Fan the Flames and LeFou, that let you ready characters up. So if you're just, like, exerting and then unexerting the Ralph, I mean, it's not bad. You quest and then you ready back up and then you do something else. Like, I like this card. Sean, thoughts on Wreck-It Ralph?
I think it's a very interesting ability in the game space. I do think there is potential to be able to make this trigger multiple times a turn. And then perhaps you do that several times a turn, and then you drop like a Rapunzel down or something, and then heal him back up and draw off of it. So
Yeah.
you've just gained you could say 6 lore and 2 cards. That'd be amazing. Or 6 lore and 3 cards. That'd be amazing. So,
and it's also
I think
like
it could be a lot of fun. And people are already kind of doing a Ruby Amber healing bend damaged kind of thing already, so it could fit right in there.
And you also like this will gain lore at the start of your turn as well if it's not removed from the board. But Blake, thoughts on Wreck-It Ralph?
Just really neat card. A lot of ideas. Even just sitting here, I just thought the Pride Lands. You put him there, and he has more willpower to work with, and you can rack up.
I love that.
And I also like that he's also like the smaller version of the legendary Donald that we got from England. No, Inklands or
it might be
Floodborn.
I know what you're talking
legendary
about.
one.
I know what you're talking about too.
Yeah, where he has more damage and he has more lore the more damage he gets. So there's nicely there a lot of stuff like that. So I could see, I definitely see a Ruby Amber, especially since some of these other Wreck-It Ralph cards are Amber.
Yes. Speaking of Amber Wreck-It Ralph cards, we have a new Vanellope Von Schweetz, which I always think is a mouthful. Sean, you want, or no, this is you, Blake. My bad. Wrong order.
Yep.
Blake, this is you. Want to take us to this new Vanellope?
Yeah, Vanellope Von Schweetz, Sugar Rush Champ, Amber 1 cost, Inkable 2/2 with 1 lore. Our very standard card.
Yeah.
Continuing our options for 1 cost 2/2s.
Yeah. which
Definitely puts it in a good spot for a potential Floodborne
hmm
for Vanellope, which would be really neat for the set.
yeah. We already do have a we already none of it. We do they're Vanellope's. We already do have a Floodborne from Wreck-It Ralph, which we'll get to later, which is really cool to see.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely. I was psyched for that.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
too. That one's cool. But we do have another Vanellope to talk about right now. Sean, you want to tell us about this Ruby one that we have?
Absolutely. We have Vanellope von Schweetz, Random Roster Racer. She's a 4-cost uninkable 3/3 with Rush, 2 Lore, and the ability Pixlexia. When you play this character, she gains Evasive until the start of your next turn. Um, Immediately out of the gate, you think Answer to Diablo, which is
Yeah.
fantastic. Probably survives to quest the next turn, I would
Mm-hmm.
imagine. I really like this character. The art for this one is fantastic to me as well because the way they use like the pixelation
And the
and
glitch.
like the glitch to like portray speed is one of the things I really
Yeah.
loved about Wreck-It Ralph the movie in general, and they've really conveyed that in the art of this too, which I love.
Yeah, this is a really cool card. I've been looking forward to this. Uh, just the whole like land of I don't remember, is it Sugar Rush? Is that what it's called? If I'm
Yeah, I
not
think the
mistaken.
game's called Sugar Rush.
So
Yeah.
being able to see that in the game is really cool.
Yeah,
Uh, and obviously we have a new racer subtype,
subtype.
which is
Yeah.
really cool, and it kind of Rush kind of fits in thematically there, which is really cool. Blake, I'll go to you next. Thoughts on our first Ruby Vanellope Von Schweetz?
Yeah, very solid card. Definitely see, yeah, probably getting some play, especially if Diablo continues to be a thing.
Yeah,
uh,
honest. Any answer to Diablo is welcome in this game right now.
Yes, absolutely.
yeah,
But
and especially like having the evasive until the start of your next turn. So
hmm
comes in, rushes in, takes out an opposing evasive, and hopefully they don't have another one to ping her off, and then she
hmm
gets to quest for 2 and then probably gets taken out then, but that's already so much that she can do. So
yeah,
very solid card, I think.
yeah. I definitely think this can do a lot. Obviously, we haven't seen anything like her ability Pixelexia that says you get evasive till the start of your next turn. We've gotten cards that said you gain evasive on your turn, but to be able to play this down, have it take out something low cost, and then be able to stay around for a while. Because if you're getting rid of Diablo and they have another Diablo on board, I don't think they're going to run into her with it. Uh, so yeah, those are the first 3 characters we got from Wreck-It Ralph. We'll talk about more in a little bit. That came from the website, but continuing on the ones from Lorecast, we did get a location from Wreck-It Ralph. We got Badanon, Villain Support Center, 3
Yes.
costed inkable steel card, 2 move cost, 7 willpower with 1 passive lore. There's no one I'd rather be than me. Villain characters gain exert pay 3, play a character the same name as this character for free while here. Same ability as the Sapphire Hades, no, Emerald Hades, right?
Yeah, the
Emerald
new
Hades
Emerald
Yeah.
one.
from
Yeah.
set 4. So same ability there, just on a location. I don't really know how I feel about this. I don't really think it's that playable. In my opinion, the 2 move cost is seems steep. I understand this is not a bad ability, but it kind of plays into the villain archetype. Obviously, we know that archetype very well here at the Glimmer Gang. So obviously, being able to do this can be interesting. I don't know how you guys feel. Blake, I'll go to you first. Thoughts on Badanon?
Uh, yeah, we'll definitely have to see. I think this is the first steel card that we've seen that cares about villains.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to see what ink pairing comes up with that. But as far as the move cost, we do have the map of Treasure Planet. Still doesn't really see play though.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is a way to make this a little more playable. So maybe. I don't know.
It's
I am very sad that this room is very empty and not full of the other baddies that
yeah.
we typically see. But of course,
Right.
legal issues with that.
Yeah,
I'm
that is very
sure.
true. legal issues. Obviously, like in Wreck-It Ralph, we got a lot more different characters, but obviously that licensing is a little frisky there.
It
Right,
is,
right, right.
yeah.
Um, Sean, thoughts on the first location we got from this set?
I mean, it's not the greatest location that we have, obviously, but I do think that anything that allows you to cheat something out for cheaper should always have an eye kept on it.
Mm-hmm.
Someday, maybe not today, but someday you'll be able to abuse that ability, and that's what we should be on the lookout for. So,
Yeah.
I don't think today it's as good as it could be, but it will be one day. It'll be pretty good, I think.
And like
And
we
who
look at,
knows? Maybe something this set will come up.
and you look at
Exactly, you never
the
know.
Mickey. There's a Teddy. There's a real that's a Teddyism. We were talking about this weekend, and I haven't done one of those in a while. There you go, Mickey.
There it is. Found it.
Mickey Trumpeter being able to exert pay one or is it pay two to play a character for free. Obviously, that's a way to cheat out characters for less. Works well with Sharon Abaya. I think is what most people target it with. More seen in multiplayer, I think. Uh, but we haven't seen a way to cheat that multiple times a turn yet. But obviously, there can be ways to do that. So, like you said, Sean, always should keep an eye on something like this, just because it really can take a game by storm and being able to just get multiple things out a lot cheaper than they should be able to be played for. Um, but that was Badanon. That was the first chunks of our Wreck-It Ralph cards. Now we're gonna look at the rest of the cards that we got in the Lorecast. First, we're gonna look at the Frozen 2. We're not at Frozen 3 yet, and that's still in production. Frozen 2. Blake, you want to take us through a new Elsa card?
Yeah, Elsa, the Fifth Spirit, uh, is a Amethyst card, a 5-cost inkable 2/5, a Dreamborn Hero Queen Sorcerer, and with 1 lore, but she has the brush keyword,
Mm-hmm.
evasive keyword, and the ability Crystallize. When you play this character, exert chosen opposing character. She is bonkers.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
this may be one of the, and I understand it's a 5 cost, but this may be one of the better answers to Diablo we've seen. And I know every single thing with evasive and rush we're gonna say is an answer to Diablo, but it really is, because if your opponent hasn't exerted Diablo, or they just played them Diablo down, you can get it right off the board. And so, but obviously, like you said, Blake, this card can do wonders even outside of just being rush and evasive.
Yeah, we're now getting more of the pieces that I think the Ruby Amethyst Challenge Matters deck can really
Yes.
start seeing some sort of play.
Yes, for sure.
Which, John, finally, some
Finally, that's exactly what I
justice
thought.
for Shere Khan.
For real, for real. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Justice
Yes.
for Shere Khan.
Anything like this is the best piece that we've ever gotten as far as forcing an exert on somebody else.
Yeah.
And it's on a it can if you have Shere Khan out or any of the other stuff that benefits this type of thing, you can drop her down and immediately take advantage of that.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's great. I cannot wait to start testing that.
And obviously, we've seen this kind of theme of Elsa being able to exert anything. We saw in set 1, the 3-drop, you can exert chosen opposing character. I believe there was another card of hers that lets you do the same thing. But being able to play this down and then deal with Russian and then deal with a lot of things is really nice still.
Yeah, and she's inkable. That's the crazy part to me. I feel like this one could have been an uninkable,
Yeah.
but she's inkable.
Hey, yeah, I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining.
I'm not going to complain. Please, Ryan, don't take your Sharpie out and change that.
I do think, though, something like this is just pushing aggro out the door a lot more now, just because it's going to be able to deal with pretty much everything in aggro, and you can exert anything. Even if someone's trying to protect something for one more turn, you play this down, and boom, that thing's not protected.
bye-bye.
Except that darn Bucky.
Yeah,
Ward characters in general, but Bucky for sure.
yeah, I don't know. I can't. I don't even want to talk about that bird. Bird, but that's Diablo. Squirrel. There you go. But yeah, this Elsa is going to be really good. and watch out for it because you're gonna see this played.
Yeah.
I
And you're
don't
gonna
think
hate
this
it.
will not be played. Yes. We did get another Amethyst card from Frozen 2. A little salamander friend. Sean, you want to tell us about Bruni? Jeez, I can't speak.
Yes, sir. We have Bruni, Fire Salamander. He is a 4-cost inkable 2/2 with evasive, 2 lore, and the ability Parting Gift. When this character is banished, you may draw a card. I quite love the art.
I do
He's
too.
adorable. I don't know. I think his cost is too high personally, but I don't know. It's too early to tell probably. But
Yeah, he
Yeah.
got a lot of
says.
relevant stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess the hope is he gets to stick around with his evasive and get to quest a couple times, and then when your opponent finally answers him, you get to draw the card. But the problem is, yeah, coming in that late at 4, your opponent may immediately have an answer for
Yeah,
that.
exactly. Like, and you run
Yeah.
into steel most times are gonna have an answer for this before you can even quest with it. And obviously, you play it down and it gets banished. You're drawing a card, which isn't bad at all. Um,
Not terrible, but for 4, it
yeah,
feels a little rough.
Yeah,
Where you
feels a
can
little
pay
rough for
2 for the Amethyst Cusco
mm-hmm.
and get that.
Yeah, exactly.
Same thing.
Uh,
You can play 2 of those and get 2 draws.
exactly. And you're still getting 2 lore if you play 2 of those, and it's 2 different bodies. So, Sean, I think
Yeah.
you're right. I think this cost is definitely a bit too high for an ability like this. Obviously, the evasive is nice, but
yeah.
we're seeing there's so many evasives in this game that are being played that it really can just it won't stick around. Whether it gets answered by another evasive, by the Elsa that we just saw, it's kind of thematic that the Elsa cools off the Bruni. Uh, from after, like, if you know the scene in the movie when he's introduced, is kind of cool in that way that Elsa can kind of just, if Bruni's played, Elsa then gets played next turn and Bruni's no more. But we do have one more card from Frozen 2 to talk about. A new Kristoff, Reindeer Keeper, 9 cost on Inkable. Don't worry, that can be reduced. 3/7 Strength Willpower, 3 Lord Dreamborn Ally in Amber. Song of the Herd. For each song card in your discard, you pay 1 less to play this character, and he also has Bodyguard. It's a Chernabog for songs, essentially. And we've
Better
seen.
turn about for
Yes,
songs because you
honestly.
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
have to
yeah,
send
yeah.
it back to your deck.
Yes. So I don't mind this card, honestly. I think if the strength was 1 higher, this would be a lot better because
Yeah.
dies to Medusa. It does, unfortunately. But it's not a bad card for Steel Song. Being able to protect your things a lot better. You're able to play a good amount of songs early, and then turn 4 or 5, you have 4 or 5 songs in your discard already, depending on how much you sung or how much you've played, and you're able to play Kristoff for free. If you a whole new world, a bunch of songs out of your hand, and draw into a Kristoff, boom, you're playing him for very cheap. Sean, I'll go to you first. Thoughts on Kristoff, Reindeer Keeper?
I like him quite a bit, honestly. There are a lot of decks out there that run kind of low to the ground songs anyway, where you're singing a ton of them, like Strengths of a Raging Fire and Let the Storm Rage On, and what else is there? Sudden Chill and Bare Necessities. All these songs have been pretty prevalent lately. So you get this card in one of those decks, and I think the thing that sets this above Chernabog for me is the Bodyguard. You're forcing because with Chernabog they can ignore him if they really want to, like or ignore him the best they can. And with this guy, it's like, nope, you come on, keep coming. You got to come through me first, you know. So I think that's awesome. I don't know. You get him down in Bodyguard. He takes a hit. Quest for 3, still in Bodyguard, protecting your other important pieces. I think he's a great card personally.
Yeah. I mean, pretty good points there. I can't argue with it. I think you're right that Bodyguard is really nice. You don't have to shuffle him back in. Blake, thoughts on Kristoff?
Yeah. Made my main point of you don't have to shuffle your cards back into your deck.
Yeah.
I do want to point out at the as the lore guy, Ryan did mention stuff about these colorful lights
Yes.
around,
Yes.
and I'm very interested to see what exactly those are.
Yeah, because I don't know if this is we're seeing Arendelle or we're seeing the Great Illuminary here. It looks like Arendelle from like the houses behind him, uh, and obviously he has his reindeer with him. But yes, you're right. These colorful orb floating thingies definitely could be a sign of something to come in the
Yeah,
future.
definitely match the ink colors. So
Yeah,
Yes,
100%.
something to do with that.
yes.
Very curious to see what that ends up being.
Hmm.
That's my one complaint so far with the cards revealed is most of them do not have any flavor text, so I have no context for some of these art pieces.
Yeah, lore guy didn't get as much lore as he would have wanted. I'm just kidding.
Yet,
Yet.
hopefully soon.
We did get a pretty cool new location that opens us into the world of the Great Illuminary even more. It is the Great Illuminary. Blake, you want to tell us about this first location that we've seen inside the world of Lorcana?
Yeah, just a moment. There we go. Alrighty. Yeah, we do have the Great Illuminary Radiant Ballroom, a 3 cost inkable sapphire location with 2 move cost and 9 willpower, and the ability Warm Welcome. Characters with support get +1 lore and +2 willpower while here. So, some more support,
Support, support.
support, support. English is fun.
English is very fun.
Yeah. Uh, Definitely, we've seen how the 9 willpower locations can stick around,
Mm-hmm.
so can definitely do that. The only thing is the move cost, and the lore gain is only when characters get on there and start questing away. So it's gonna take some more support to see if the
Support, support.
support deck uh, can get off the ground. But it definitely seems like a good piece for that deck,
Yeah.
and because that's what a lot of the support characters need
Mm-hmm.
is to get more lore while they're giving their support, and then for a lot of them, some of them have very low willpower, so getting some extra willpower here uh, should hopefully help alleviate some of those characters and help them see some play with this deck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Definitely don't have as much support for support characters as I think we need for this card to truly become playable. Obviously, that 2 move cost is still steep. We don't really see a lot of locations outside of Pride Lands, I think, with a 2 move cost that make it playable. And obviously, no passive lore on this either, which kind of makes sense. And then the 9 willpower is just, it's not bad actually. It's high. It's the highest we've seen along with McDuck Manor. So definitely that is a something to think about. It's going to take a few characters to get rid of this off the board if it does become playable. Sean, thoughts on the Great Illuminary Radiant Ballroom?
I mean, I think it's cool. I think the idea behind it is pretty cool, but I don't know that we have the support. If that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, support.
there are some. There, don't get me wrong. There are some really good candidates that already quest for multiple lore, and just having another lore stacked onto it
Mm-hmm.
makes it a lot better. I think it's too clunky though. I really think it's too many pieces right now. I guess maybe you could try, and because all the support stuff is in amber and sapphire. That's it. There's no other 2 colors, so those are the 2 colors you have to play.
Mm-hmm.
There's no. What I would like to see is the ability to have some sort of movement, like cost reduction. If that was the case, I could see this being a lot more prevalent. I
Yeah.
could see this being some play. But
Yeah,
as is, having them 2 movement cost really sinks this one, I think.
Yeah, it would be nice if there was some support in like Ruby, who has those move location
Right.
helpers too. So maybe something there. Another thing that I'm noticing, get like, yeah, you get the lore and the willpower, but no strength either, because
Right.
support is giving your strength.
Yep.
So it would be, I guess they chose one over the other when designing
Yeah,
this.
honestly.
I maybe they did try giving the strength, and they just felt like the willpower was nicer or something. Maybe
Yeah,
there's some card that would get a little crazy if
Right.
it got too much strength
that is
involved here.
true. That is true. I mean, you give anything with like if you give put Maui here and you give him two more, oof, that's
Right.
he's taken out pretty much any location besides well the Great Illuminary and McDuck Manor, uh, which wouldn't be bad. But I think you're right. I think the willpower probably was the better choice, just because there are some cards that could get really powerful if given more strength. There are also characters that get more powerful if they have more. Well, Maui doesn't have support, so I don't even know why I'm saying that. Uh,
Alice could give them support, the legendary one from
that is true.
yeah,
So I wasn't totally wrong.
yeah,
But
saving you there.
yeah. Uh, we are going to now head out of the Great Illuminary into the Pride Lands and talk about our favorite Lion King villain. We have a new Scar, which is this is the Scar that came from the starter deck. Sean, you want to take us over this new Emerald card?
Absolutely. I quite like this card a lot, from the art to the stats to everything, really. Scar Vengeful Lion. He's a 4-cost inkable, 4/2 with Ward. Life's not fair, is it? Whenever one of your characters challenges a damaged character, you may draw a card. He also has 1 lore. I quite like this because it comes in the Steel Emerald deck. Steel is very good about putting 1 or 2 damage on things, or several things, one thing or several things. So I think there will be ample opportunity for this card to take advantage of that, to just get your draw engine going.
And think like cards with Vision Slab that don't allow you to remove damage counters. You get
I'd be willing to bet there's a 1 or 2 of a Vision Slab in that deck.
yeah. Uh,
Yep.
do I dare say this goes into a Bucky deck
It
because
might.
it helps with your draw, and sometimes that deck, if it doesn't like do what it needs to, doesn't get Diablo out, get this down. If you've been able to ping a few things here and there, and you're able to challenge a damaged character, play a Tink down next turn, have Tink take out a character that's damaged already,
Right.
and
Lots of possibilities, for
yeah,
sure.
and this can be a card where you ping and then play this down the next turn to then benefit. It's not like you need to exert. It comes down and it's a static ability, so you're able to just benefit from it. It can't be targeted because of Ward. We all know how powerful Ward can be. Obviously, I think the 2 willpower there is necessary with having it Ward. A card like Grab Your Sword can still deal with it, and all that. So, Sean, I'm with you. I do like this card. I think this can definitely has a viable spot in a ping deck or any deck that really deals damage.
Yeah.
Blake, thoughts on Scar Vengeful Lion?
More inkable emeralds with Ward. I
Yes.
don't like it.
No,
I love it.
that is fair. That is very fair. More inkable emerald with Ward.
But I do wonder, since we're getting a new Scar, I wonder if this will be the set where we get a few more hyenas to go with them, and maybe that Rafiki will get to use his ability.
That is true.
That could be awesome.
That is
Yeah.
very true. God, see that Rafiki finally see play would be
Right.
awesome.
Well, he's seen play,
just
it's
not in the
that
manner
it's
he
not
was
gonna-
designed to be played in.
Yeah.
But we do have the other card from this starter deck. Kronk, Head of Security, 7-costed, uninkable, 6/6 for 1, or 6/6 1 lore. 6/6 for 1 would be wild. Floatborn Ally Captain, Shift 5. Are you on the list? This art has him as the bouncer for this party at the Great Illuminary. And that ability says, during your turn, whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, you may play a character with cost 5 or less for free. Wow.
Not bad.
Not
Not bad
bad
at
at
all.
all. I think this Kitsy play, obviously the uninkability is not the greatest, but the shift, obviously you can bring this out earlier. We do have Emerald Cusco, which is a 5 cost and a very good card in and of itself. Or that's Cusco, this is Kronk. What am I saying? Um yeah, I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know if we have a lower cost Kronk under
Most
5.
of them are pretty
They're pretty big.
high cost.
So obviously I think probably we see a lower
Let
cost
me.
Kronk to be able to shift this down in Emerald or Steel. You never know, just because it's in that starter deck. So you'll be able to do that, and actually being able to play something with 5 or less for free. That in and of
Yep.
itself is great. Uh, Very thematic. If you like, uh, banishes another character and you get to play Kuzco down. I think pretty thematic there in a way. With Emperor's New Groove. Blake, I'll go to you first. Thoughts on Kronk, Head of Security?
Yeah, for one, I just love Kronk, and I love this gig for him. I love the
Yes.
outfit;
Yeah,
it looks really
Swag for real.
cool. um, but yeah, definitely need to see a cheaper Kronk. Just double checked. Both of the ones we have so far are both 6 costs. So, uh, I mean, yeah, it is tough, but hopefully we do see that cheaper one that we can shift on. Worst case for Emerald Steel, you have Morph.
Right.
So there's at least some way to get them shifted uh, with the existing cards that we know of. Um, but there are a ton of 5 cost cards, and that's where a lot of stuff becomes really good. So 5 costs, being able to bring down uh, just trying to think of some examples like the Steel Beast, bring that down, take out an item.
yeah. Robin Hood, be
Uh,
able to play that. And Sad Beast you can play for free.
Sad Beast.
There's a lot of possibilities there for sure.
Yeah.
Just in Steel, and obviously other colors have great 5 costs as well. You can play that new Elsa for free if you want.
Right.
Uh,
Uh, Man, and I'm just thinking from the ones you mentioned with because play shift this down if you have a Bucky on
oh
board.
gosh, don't go there.
Discard,
Play
challenge
Robin.
into something. Play Robin Hood or steal Sad Beast. That's another. Oh no, what have I done?
Blake's destroying Lorcana as we speak. Bucky just gets stronger and stronger.
Oh no.
What are we gonna do with this guy, Sean? He's just destroying the game.
Canada's finally getting to him.
He drinks. He had some wonky maple syrup this morning.
Oh, that's funny.
Uh, yeah, Kronk, Head of Security, a new Bucky target. Yay! So fun. Uh,
Yay. What have I done?
but we're gonna move on to the first legendary that we saw from the set. Blake, you want to take us over, Donald Duck?
Yes, I love Donald. Let me.
Happy belated birthday, Donald, by the way. It happened
Yeah.
over this
Yeah,
weekend.
happy 90th, Donald. Oh, there he is. There we go. Yes, Donald Duck Pie Slinger, so our first food fight card,
Yes.
which I think is going to be a theme in
I can't
as
wait.
part of this set. Uh, he is a ruby, 5 cost inkable, 3/6, another Floodborn, hero and knight,
Which is interesting.
which is
I mean, it kind of
interesting.
fits. He's got a he's got like he's throwing a pie. He's got like a sword with his whisk and a shield with
Yeah,
his. I don't even know what's around his neck. Is that like a griddle? Maybe looks like a griddle.
It's like a
yeah,
serving pan, essentially. It looks like.
Yeah,
yeah,
little hidden Mickey on there too.
Yeah. Yep.
yep. He has 1 lore, and he gets to shift for 4, and he has 2 abilities. First of which, Humble Pie. When you play this character, if you used shift to play him, each opponent loses 2 lore. Pretty nice. uh, continuing the Lord Stealing of Ruby, and then Raging Duck. While an opponent has 10 or more lore, this character gets +6 strength, becoming a 9/6,
It's
which
that
is huge.
multiplayer weapon if I've ever seen one.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
end of the game when like everyone's just there and close to winning, and you need one more lore or you need more strength to take out a big body. Boom, Donald
Right.
Duck.
Yeah.
Come in and throw a pie and banish something.
Yeah, take out a Tamatoa.
Oh gosh.
Um, yeah, like he gets big, and with uh, not Tamatoa, but some other high willpower
Mm-hmm.
characters that don't have as much strength. He has 6 willpower to survive some
Yeah.
hits.
Yeah.
Right.
Like it's a big boy. Donald's a big boy in later game, and I like that a
Right.
lot.
I love this card a lot, honestly. From the art to everything else. Just I have learned that this whole I think this guy's going to be dominant in multiplayer, especially.
Mm-hmm.
The ability to make everybody else lose 2 lore, and if somebody else is still too far ahead, you have just a giant threat
Yeah.
that they have to deal with. So I think it's great.
Yeah. Obviously, Ruby is kind of known for those lore reducing, lore stealing abilities. Aladdin from set one, when you attack and banish something, you gain 2 lore, and all opponents lose 2 lore. So Donald Duck Pie Slinger, it is a really
Slinger.
it. This is just an amazing card. You see meatballs; it looks like being thrown everywhere. Uh, really well done card, I think, and this is going to definitely see play in multiplayer. I think it could still see play in single player and regular play for a late game bomb that can just kind of take out anything on the board, which is really nice. I think we definitely needed something that can deal with these bigger threats, like Blake, you said, Automatoa later in the game, because you're having to send one or two, three things into him at the same time. If you're able to send Donald Duck into him and just say, and Donald Duck survives because Tomatoma was only a 5/8, so it's not bad.
Oh,
I
dang,
think
he survives Tamatoa. Wow,
yes, he survives Tamatoa, which is insane to think about.
that's crazy. Yeah.
He survives a lot of things late game.
Real.
Donald Duck Pie Slinger, pretty cool card. Actually, a very cool card. But the next card we're going to talk about is something that we've been waiting for a while, I think. A new song that has been on the minds of a lot of Lorcana players. Sean, you want to take us over this new song from Moana?
So the new song that we have is a 4-drop inkable emerald song called "You're Welcome,"
You're
and
welcome.
the ability reads: shuffle chosen character, item, or location into their player's deck. That player draws 2 cards. This is a very, very interesting card because this kind of just deals with anything, and I love the randomness of.
Besides
You can do it to
Bucky,
your opponent.
it doesn't deal with
Well, yeah,
Bucky.
it doesn't hit ward. Sure. But a lot of the other major threats, you can deal with, or if you're ahead, get rid of one of your things and draw 2. You know,
Mhm.
it's not.
Yeah.
It works out both. It's offensive and defensive. It's very flexible, and I like that.
Well, here's a funny thing.
Yeah.
You play Emerald Amethyst, quest with your rabbit, or no, have rabbit sing this, and then shuffle this back in your deck. You're drawing 3 cards. Boom. Like
Yep.
it's in reality a Yzma for anything on the board. Uh,
Yep.
and obviously, cool. You're giving to your opponent 2 cards, and it's kind of thematic and saying, okay, get rid of this. You're welcome 2 cards.
Right.
And Ryan alluded to that in the Lorecast. But I think this is really I think I like this card a lot. I think this could definitely see
Yeah, me
play. Uh, whether it's removing a threat off the board to like kind of basically say, okay, you can't deal with my board anymore. I think it's a really good way to deal with locations, which obviously we have stuff like Avalanche and Rise of the Titans or and Along Came Zeus. But it seems to say, okay, no, get this out of here. And I think this can come down late game and say, okay, you're not winning because if like they have 1 card on board that they need to win, like a Queen's Castle, for example, which is a prominently played location right now, this can deal with it. And so I really like You're Welcome. Blake, thoughts on this new song?
Uh, Not much to add.
I will add
It's
his Maui's face on here is kind of creepy. It's kind of creeping me out. I won't lie. The art is
He was kind of creepy for the song because
that
he's
that
like, I'm slowly trying to steal your boat.
Yep.
you're not wrong. This face is just interesting, to say the least. But Sean, like you said, you're welcome. I think this is going to be a really good card. I think it definitely will see play. Being inkable is really nice. Emerald inkables, I guess that's the new theme. Good emerald inkable cards.
Gotta love it.
Please,
Got to
please
love
no.
it.
The the poor hidden ink caster. What's he supposed to turn into inkable now?
I know.
Right?
Where did that card go? Well, I was gonna talk about Prince Sean Gold Lover. If you guys didn't know, is a new card coming to Lorcana, but it's also is coming in a Disney Villainous box. We're getting a new Villainous on August 1st.
August.
August 1st, and it is bringing together five characters from different Villainous boxes to introduce Villainous to the people who haven't played it, but it also is coming with a special art Prince John. So this is kind of the first art that we've seen in something like this. Obviously, we've seen these alt arts at challenge events and in set champs, but we haven't seen anything where it's been in a new box. And this card will be in the actual set. Is a super rare in the actual set, but also is getting a new design in this Villainous box in the Villainous art style, which I think is really cool. I think this card isn't bad. I'll read it now. It is a 4-costed inkable in Sapphire, 3/4 for 1 lore, store-born villain prince, beautiful, lovely taxes. Exert, play an item from your hand or discard with cost 5 or less for free. Exerted. That's not bad, honestly. I think this card can definitely see play. Like I said, we're gonna be able to get it in the villains box. It's a new promo. So I like this card. Sean, thoughts on Prince John Gold Lover?
It's interesting. I do like the ability. I do think with the prevalence of Sapphire items decks right now, this definitely could see a home in those decks. Only testing will be able to tell. It might just be too slow, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Pair it off of that. Yeah, it might be a little slow, but it does pair well with an item like the Great Stone Dragon,
Mhm.
where
Yeah.
it already comes in shifted when you, or not shifted,
Shifted.
exerted.
Like,
Close.
no, what do you know that we don't?
uh, we were proven wrong last set about getting floodborne items.
That is true.
So may still be a future thing, but no, comes in exerted. So you're not really losing anything there with the Great Stone Dragon, and even things like Popsicle, you don't mind if it comes in
Right.
exerted. So the only ones that you really care about would be things like the IF8s or
Mm-hmm.
things like that, where you want to exert it immediately to use an ability. But um, yeah, we'll have to see if there's any 5 cost or less items that come in and would pair well with this Prince John.
Yeah, and obviously it's a tale as old as time. We'll have to wait and see because we
Yep.
have 20 cards, 21 cards. I don't know which one of those is correct. We got just a very small portion of this set today, and like I said, Tales of Time. We're gonna have to wait and see. We're gonna have to wait and see what else we see in this set. Whether we get another item that is prevalent that can benefit off of this. Obviously, like a card like Lucky Dime isn't gonna benefit because that's a 7 cost, but we could see other powerful items come in the future. And obviously, it's not just or not just Sapphire items. We have good items in other sets or other inks. Geez, that can benefit off of this as well, coming in to be able to play for free from your discard. And obviously, you can also play an item from your hand, so it doesn't have to be in your discard. You can play it from anywhere to get it out for free. Those are all the cards that we saw in the Lorecast today. We did get 7 cards. I just did quick math looking at my screen. That we got from the website and different things. Like I said at the beginning of the show, they did update all of their promotional stuff and announcement stuff on the Disney Lorcana website. So if you want to go see all this, go there and then go under resources. But Blake, probably the card that a lot of people are talking about right now, new Merlin. You want to walk us through a new legendary that we have?
Yep. We saw this guy in the trailer making his little prediction, and he is Merlin, Intellectual Visionary. Uh, he's a Sapphire 6 cost, uninkable 3/7 with 2 lore, Floodborn, Mentor, and Sorcerer with Shift 5. And finally, we have the magnum opus of developing brain with overdeveloped brain.
Yep.
When you play this character, if you used Shift to play him, you may search your deck for any card and put that card into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So finally, just a straight up tutor,
Mm-hmm.
find whatever you want in your deck.
And obviously, it does have that restriction. It needs to be shifted, but we do have 3 pretty good Merlin cards that are played already. Obviously, this would fit into Blurple, Blue, Purple, Amethyst, Sapphire with the Goat, Rabbit, and Crab. And
Yep.
sometimes you don't really want to shift onto those because those give you a lot more benefits with bouncing and doing all that. We do have a Sapphire Merlin, but I could suspect us seeing another Merlin come into
I
play
wouldn't be shocked.
in Sapphire to let you kind of play this with whatever ink you want. Uh, because this opens up stuff to where you can play it shifted at a 5 cost, and this is a 6 cost anyway, so you can sing 6 cost songs. You play this, shift it, find like a whole new world or a grab your swords, or any of those like big 5 cost powerful songs, and sing this right away. And
Right.
Yeah.
like you said, the 7 willpower is hard to deal with. And so this card is nuts. I think coming from Pokemon, I was so used to having cards that you could play down and just go search for something. And it makes me a little happy to see that now in Lorcana. I know like people were looking forward to it, weren't looking forward to it. There was kind of a split decision there. Personally, I am very excited about seeing tutors. I think they do benefit TCGs, but they do need to be like not walled off,
Limit.
limited. Yes.
Yeah, that's the thing with Pokemon. It's like almost every other uh, trainer or supporter card, I think they're called.
Yeah.
With those, like almost every other one lets you look for something in your deck. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
so
Right.
almost every turn, you're watching your opponent
Shuffle through
flip
your
through
deck.
their deck, pick out a card. Oh, this Pokemon has an ability to let me look for one of my other Pokemon. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
And you you just use your deck to look for your cards,
Exactly.
which it can make games feel very stale because you're getting your cards every time,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
you're always going to have your lines.
Yeah. Uh,
So
and obviously we
not
saw like with Alma Madrigal, the tutor only can go look for madrigals.
yeah,
Merlin, you have to shift down to get the ability to trigger, and so they are limited. And I think we will see tutors slowly introduced, but they will be limited uh, to something like this, where you have to do something in order for that to trigger. Um, Sean, I'll go to you next. Thoughts on Merlin, Intellectual Visionary, and tutors finally, like just straight tutors finally being in the game?
It was only a matter of time. It's a part of games. It's a part of TCGs. You just kind of gotta deal with it. You just kind of gotta accept it. Hopefully, like you said, they're not just letting cards flat out tutor for or without having some sort of drawback or some sort of limitation.
Yeah.
So as long as they keep taking that approach, hopefully it shouldn't be too bad for them, honestly. But I do like it. I do think that, and I do think it's a high enough cost to where it's not like you're not tutoring something up turn
Mm-hmm.
3 or turn
Yeah,
2. You know what
exactly.
I mean?
Yeah,
So I think it's
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Uh, Obviously, this card probably will see play. I think we do need to see if we can get another smaller Merlin that you can shift on. We do have another one in blue, so there is possibility. But the next cards that we got from the website, actually the rest of the cards we got from the website, are back to Wreck-It Ralph. We got 3 Mutton Fudge. I think that's how you say your name. Uh,
Taffeta.
Taffeta. There you go.
Yeah.
Mutton Fudge cards. Sean, you want to take us over the first one?
So we have Taffeta Mutton Fudge, Ruthless Rival. She is a 2-cost inkable 2/2 with 2 lore and no abilities. Um, just a solid little card. You know,
Mm-hmm.
2 lore at 2 cost is not ever bad in my opinion. Might see play in a lower to the ground Ruby build.
Great and limited. I know we haven't said
Yeah.
that
Oh,
in
that's
this
been
episode
phenomenal
yet.
and limited.
Like,
Yeah,
this is going to be
phenomenal.
great and limited.
Yeah. But like I said, I could even see her in some lower to the ground, like an aggro, a Ruby, maybe Ruby Amber aggro would be kind of fun. So
Yeah.
we'll see. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Fantastic art too.
Yeah, a lot of these Wreck-It Ralph cards are really good art. Blake, thoughts on this 2 cost, or you want to move on to the next taffeta that you have? Or is that me? That's me.
Let's go to the
Yeah.
cooler one. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
talk about. I'll touch on the 1 cost real quick. 1 cost at Inkable, Taffeta Mutton Fudge, crowd favorite. 1 strength, 2 willpower, 1 lore, store 1 ally, racer, showstopper. When you play this character, if you have a location to play, each opponent loses 1 lore. Again, kind of just playing into that Ruby something, location or lore losing thing in multiplayer. Finally got there. But that one's cool, and that is a shift target for the next one. That Blake, you want to tell us about this taffeta?
Yep.
Taffeta.
This one is the Sour Speedster, which I love that she's in a watermelon car.
That's awesome.
Sour watermelon is like one of my favorite candy flavors.
There you go.
Yeah. She is Ford Costa Inkable 3/3 Floodborn ally racer with 1 lore who can shift for 2. And then once per turn, when this character moves to a location, gain 2 lore. So definitely seeing this push for more Ruby locations and doing more stuff with that, which I love. With Inklands, I was with the boxes I pulled, I was able to pull a full set of Jim Hawkins, the legendary one. So I would really love to be able to build a good Ruby location stack.
Yeah.
So I feel like the 1 cost one and this one here just fit right into that so nicely.
Yeah.
Even the 2 cost one might find a spot in that deck just to have more options and a more likelihood to be able to shift this one out.
Yeah.
For cheap.
And you think about it, like later in the game when you have built up a good amount of ink, you're able to essentially, if you have both taffetas, play it for 3 and then just move to different locations if you have them out and just say, okay, I gain 2, 4, 6 lore and win. Like that.
Yeah,
Right.
Because you can just go back and forth between 2 locations if you need to, and boom.
Well, it's once a turn for that one.
Yeah,
So.
it does say one.
Oh, once per turn. You're right.
You could have multiple of her.
That is true.
But you have you can play your location, play your 1-drop one. Your opponent loses a lore, shift it out, and then move and gain 2 lore.
3 lore swing. Not bad.
Yeah.
What? Okay, could you also then shift on top of her again and then move again?
Oh, I think so.
I think you could, but at that point I don't know if you would have a hand.
Yeah, that's true. That's playing 4 or 5 cards, but I mean, not wrong.
Yeah. Hopefully that's closing out the game if that's
Right.
Yeah.
You know, you could easily close out a game with like if you have 2 of her in a hand, easily.
Yeah. It is really cool to see Wreck-It Ralph in this game. I will say that.
Absolutely.
And this art is amazing. I think this is some of my favorite art we've seen so far in the game. And I mean, we knew Wreck-It Ralph was coming at some point, so it is really awesome to see these gals in the game. But we do have two more racers to talk about. Sean, you want to take us over the next one?
Yeah, let's talk about Rancis Fluggerbutter, Chocolate Charger. He's a 4-cost, inkable 4/4 with 1 lore and no abilities. Storyborn ally racer. Kind of boring, I'm not going to lie. Kind of boring, not a whole lot going on here. Just draft chaff, in my opinion.
Yeah. It is
Great art,
flavor
though,
text,
again.
yes.
Fantastic art.
Flavor art
Yep.
is flavor art. Flavor text is kind of cool. Ingredients: butter, sugar, unsweetened chocolate, vanilla, and arrogance. Because
I like that.
I think in the movie Rancis was kind of just like a
All
very
of them were pretty smug.
yeah they're a very smug bunch besides Vanellope. Uh,
Yeah.
we did get our final racer, which is Snowanna Rainbow
Technically,
Rainbow.
there's still 2 more.
That is true.
Snowana, and then the next one is still a racer.
That is true. I did not catch that part. Oh, whoopsie. Snowanna Rainbow. I'm not exactly sure how that's pronounced. Rainbow. Okay. Cool competitor. 3 costed, uninkable, 2/4, 1 lore, store-bought ally racer. Rush. Again, another rush.
I like it.
I mean, it's just kind of that theme we're seeing with these racers where they're all rushed. They can all, basically, as soon as they're played, get in on the action, which
Right.
is really thematic, and I really like that, and it kind of makes sense. And the final card we're going to talk about today, the final racer, final card, is also Rush. Like I said, another racer. I'm going to keep saying that. It's been a long episode here. Blake, you want to take us over this final card for the day?
Yep, it is Turbo, or is he? Royal Hack. 2 cost uninkable, 2/3, storyborn, villain, racer, rush, as he said, 1 lore, and the ability Game Jump. This character also counts as being named King Candy for Shift.
I love that.
So definitely a huge hint towards King Candy Shift.
Floodborne Shift Candy.
card.
Floodborne Shift Candy.
Yep, gonna happen.
Floodborne
Gotta
King
happen.
Candy. Yeah, it has to happen.
Yep.
This
Yep.
is just gonna turn in one of those cards that like the hyena that gives us something.
It hasn't been paid off yet.
Yeah, we just see like
I hope not.
we
I
see the
hope that's
payoff
not the
like
case.
4 or
You
5
can't-
sets down the line.
Such a bummer.
I don't
That
think
would
they
be
do that.
horrible. But I definitely also, just as a little prediction here, I see maybe a location for the racers
Yeah,
that will do something for the racers. That like, there's no reason to add all of these racer subtypes and not do something for them.
Yeah. Or like if you have a racer here, chosen character gains rush this turn.
Right.
That seems thematic, but obviously something like that
Yeah.
could be seen.
Yeah, just something to do with racers because you can't flood the set with them and then not do anything with them.
Yeah. And that was the new yeah, that's true. That was the new subtype we got. I don't know if we'll see any more new subtypes, obviously, because we could see others, but obviously this is a pretty big one coming into the game that just it hasn't been seen. We don't have really a space for it yet.
I really hope that we end up seeing a couple of like our normal Disney characters also as racers, like a Mickey Mouse racer or.
Look, I know because there's definitely Mickey Mouse Clubhouse episodes that have them in a race. I remember this from my childhood.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And so definitely a possibility there. Also opens up for Cars and Pixar.
Yeah.
It'd be really cool. I know, obviously, it's way down the line.
Very unlikely.
That's my dream, but I know that's way down the line if it ever does come to the game. But that was the first cards from set 5, Shimmering Skies. It was a really good Lorecast. Well, I got a lot of good information. Obviously, now this kind of is going to kick off revealing, and it's going to be a slow reveal, obviously, after the announcement of Ursula's return. We didn't really see much for a little bit. It was kind of intermittent, like, pops up of article of new cards, and then, like, towards the end, we got everything.
Hopefully, they spread it out a little more
Yes.
evenly this time.
Yes, that would be nice.
Hope so.
Kind of make it easier on us content creators to like know when these cards are coming and all that.
Right.
But that was episode 45 of the Glimmer Gang podcast. If you guys do want to follow us three, our links will be down below. And other Glimmer Gang links will also be down below to check us out on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, X, Twitter. We're on Threads, but I don't really post there. So you can go follow us there if you want to. But that, like I said, that was episode 45. Shimmering Skies has been announced. We have a ton of new cards, and we will see you guys in the next one. Glimmer on.